Hey student, watch this video and learn the difference between can and could. Coming up. Hey friends, Teacher Prix here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on another lesson. If it's your first time here, consider subscribing because from Monday to Friday, I post different kinds of English lessons, grammar, listening, reading, vocabulary, speaking tips, because I want to make sure that you become a better and more confident English speaker. So consider subscribing. Well, my friends, let's dive into the content. Today, I got a lot of rain. It's been raining a lot here in São Paulo today, and well, I had to go out and I got wet. My hair is messy, but what are we gonna do? My friends, can and could. Many English learners get confused about how to use can, how to use could. So this is a quick and sweet lesson about can and could so that you better understand how to use these guys, okay? Very nice. So let's focus on, I think I'll be talking about four different aspects. Let me show you my nails. 4 different aspects. So the first one, ability. Well, I can talk about ability. And when I say ability, what is an ability? Speak English is an ability. Dance is an ability. Let's see, run. Not everybody runs, okay? It's an ability. So using the computer, technology and stuff, that's an ability. So anything that you can describe as an ability, you can use the verb can next to it, okay? Now, if it's in the present, you use can. I can speak 3 languages. Yes, I can speak English. I can speak Spanish? Well, my Spanish is not so great, but I can speak Spanish. And I can speak another language, but I'm still learning. So I cannot swim. And this is true for me. Can you swim? Let me know here in the chat if you're watching it live. Let me know here in the comments if you're watching the replay. Can you swim? I cannot swim, and my dream is to swim. I want to swim one day. By the way, this is a good example. I want to swim one day. You don't use can in the middle. I wanna can swim. No, don't do that. Now, if you wanna put or speak can in the middle after a verb, you cannot. But you can use be able to. I wanna be able to swim one day. But you cannot say, I want to can. I want to can. No, don't do that, okay? Can is always the main verb. You use can and then you use another verb. I can dance. I can swim. I can speak English. I can stand on 1 foot. 1 foot. It's one. I can stand on 1 foot. I can run very quickly like boat. So I cannot. That's not true. Another important thing, you don't use the word to separate can and the other verb. Many English learners do that. I can't to swim. No, don't do that. You cannot do that, okay? I can swim, or in the negative form, I cannot swim. There's no to, okay? Goodbye to. Don't use it, all right? Now, the same way I can talk about an ability in the present, I can talk about an ability in the past. When I was a child, I could run very quickly. Yeah, And this construction, I could, blah, 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 when, blah, 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 is very common. Hardly ever you will see only could in one sentence. I could speak English. Well, tell me when. I could speak English when I was 3 years old. Pfft, not true. So you always have this combo. I could blah 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 when blah blah blah. Okay? So this is a very common construction. Is it mandatory? No. But it is very popular. And most of the time, when you're describing an ability in the past, you usually describe a period when you could do that activity. And the same way with can, I do not use to. Here, same thing. I do not use to separate can, could, and the verb. I could swim. I could dance. I could speak. You do not have anything separating them, okay? Negative form, could do. Negative form, couldn't or could not. Couldn't is the contraction, okay? Could not. I cannot. Can't, that's the contraction, okay? So this is the negative form. Do not, I repeat, do not use do, don't, or didn't, or won't. No, don't do that. Can has no future. That's why I didn't show here future. If you want to give the idea of future, you will use be able to. One day, teacher, I'm not fluent yet. But one day, I will be able to speak English. So one day you will have this ability. I cannot use can. There's no future with can. I can use be able to. With be able to, I need to use will. I will be able to speak English one day. Okay? I cannot use can. Awesome, my friends. Are you enjoying this lesson? If so, I ask you to hit the like button. This really helps me understand what kind of lesson you enjoy. And if this has been really valuable to you, I ask you to share this lesson as well. Anyways, my friends, moving on. Next, request. You're going to ask someone for something, okay? It's not permission. You're sitting down at the table and you ask someone to pass the salt. So, hey, can you pass the salt? Oh, here. That's what I asked. Hey, can you pass the salt? Give the salt to me because you're next to the salt. You're near the salt. So pass it to me. Pass it on. So can you pass the salt? This is an informal request. This is how I talk to my mom, to my friends, to my colleagues at work. No problems, okay? Hey, can you open the door? It's a request. Maybe someone is knocking. Knock, knock, knock. And I'm busy. So I ask my sister, hey, Pachi, can you open the door? I'm busy. So she'll go and she'll open the door. I'm sorry, Teacher Prix, you're speaking too fast. Can you speak more slowly, please? And I will speak more slowly. For sure. So these are all informal requests, okay? Now, on the other hand, I will use, and here important, when I want to ask a question, and if you paid attention, these are all questions, with can and could, there is no auxiliary verb. You use can, you use could. You only invert the position. So you start with can or could. Immediately after can and could, you use the pronoun you, he, or the subject, the doctor, the teachers, the museum, the school. So you always use the subject inverted. First can and could, and then the subject. This is a question. That's how you make a question. And obviously your intonation. Intonation usually rises when you're asking a question. For example, can you pass the salt? Now, it's very subtle. I don't need to say, hey, can you pass the salt? That's weird, okay? But your intonation rises a little. Goes up, rises. Can you pass the salt? Salt. Now, I'm not going to say, can you pass the salt? That's a strain. That's not a question. So your intonation is lightly, okay? Goes up is likely. So it's important to pay attention to that, okay? Now, as I said, politely. When you're asking something politely, when you're requesting something politely. Now, many international, excuse me, many international students confuse this, okay? And they use could too much. So be careful with that. I know you want to be very polite, and this happens a lot in some Asian countries, in some Arabic countries. I believe that that's especially due to your culture. In Latin countries and in the South America continent, people tend to be very informal, I must say. So depending on where you're from, you have a tendency to be a little bit more formal and very polite. So be careful with this, okay? If a student comes to me and says, "Teacher, could you open the window?" Of course. I'll fake a British accent and say, "Of course, my dear. I'll I'll open the window for you." That's okay. It's polite, but it's not necessary. But oh, here there's a misspelling in again. But let's imagine I am in a formal environment, okay? Then I will use could. If I want to be extremely polite and, careful with the words I choose, then I'll do that, okay? Maybe I am in church and I'm gonna request something for an old lady. I will probably use could. Excuse me, man, could you open the window? It's so hot in here. Then I would use could. So that depends. Even at work nowadays, you're not going to use could. It really, really depends, okay? Because companies are changing, the code is changing. So I'm working with my colleague every day. Of course, I'm going to use words as please, thank you, excuse me. But could is a little bit too much depending on where you are, okay? And don't get me started on may. Because may is super informal. Could is a little less, but depending on where you are, it can sound too much. Okay? Excellent. Possibility. Let's see. General statements. You just say something in general. It's not a specific situation. In Brazil, the weather can get really hot. This is true. It's a possibility. It's a real possibility. Even though it can get really hot, I don't know what's going on. It's December and it's not as hot as it usually is. So I'm very excited about that. Usually in Brazil, by the time it's December, it's unbearable. Okay, I'm at a loss for words. It's just impossible. But this year, I don't know why, it's not so hot. Well, it's still the 10th of December, so probably by the 20th, it'll be impossible again. But I'm very grateful that we're getting this weather now. But it can get really hot in Brazil, okay? So this is a general possibility, a general statement. I'm not talking about a specific place in Brazil. No, I'm just saying it can get hot. Okay, now, today's the spelling mistakes. Agitated. Instead of two G's, add G, and then it's not a G again, it's a T. Agitated. Okay, agitated. So people can get general. I'm not talking about specific people. I'm not talking about a specific event. I'm talking about sports events and the possibility of people getting very agitated. So this is true. People can get very agitated during a sports event. Now, I'm not describing a specific sports event, and I'm not talking about specific people. It's a general statement, okay? On the other hand, if I use could, it's possible, but not certain. It's a specific event, but at the same time, I don't know for sure if it's going to happen or not. It is possible, but it's not certain. There's no guarantee. Actually, with pretty much every modal verb that indicates possibility, it's always a chance. It's never a guarantee. It's not always certain, okay? Now, the weather forecast. Let's imagine I am talking to my boyfriend, and we're talking on the phone, and then I tell him, hey, get an umbrella. No, don't get an umbrella because I didn't say it was going to rain. Hey, the weather forecast said that the weather could get pretty hot this afternoon. So this is a little bit more specific. Here I didn't mention in my city because you will understand that by the context. So let's see. I'm talking to my boyfriend and then we're talking about the weather. And then I say, the weather forecast said that it could get really hot this afternoon. So I'm not wearing a sweater. Are you sure? Because you're always so cold. Yeah, I'm sure, but I'll bring a jacket just in case. So here I'm talking about a specific event. This afternoon in my city, it could get really hot. We don't know for sure, it's not certain, but it's possible. I don't think Sarah could finish this report by 7. So it's a real possibility. It's a real, not real, but it's a specific event. It's possible, but I'm not certain. What if Sarah gets cracking and, gets down to business and finishes the report by 6? So possible, but not certain. Remember that. Possible, but not certain. And with could, it's a specific event. And with can, it's more general. Okay? Awesome. Permission. I love this one. I have some students who every now and then use could to ask for my permission. And it's hilarious for me, could. Well, you can use could. It goes back to the same example here as in the request. Requests and permission can be a little bit similar, but depending on where you are, you don't want to be very formal, okay? You can be a little informal. Some people feel bad about using can. Chill, relax. Unless you are in England, in the United Kingdom, then people can be a little bit more formal, but not in America, not in the United States, okay? But again, it depends on who you're talking to, okay? So informal, can I play video game after lunch? Can Susie sleep over? So maybe I'm talking to my mom. Mom, can I play video game after lunch? No. Kidding, you can. Oh, hey, can Susie sleep over? Sleep over. I made a video about this phrasal verb. Sleep in my home, sleep in my place. Can she sleep over? If you are young, a child, you need to talk to your mom, to your dad, and ask for permission. They need to know. So can Susie sleep over? She's my best friend. Of course she can, sweetie. And polite. Hey, could I borrow your phone? My phone? My precious phone. Fine. So could is a little bit more polite, but not so commonly used. You can, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I would say that if I am perhaps talking to a stranger and I'm talking to a stranger and I want to be polite, and maybe this stranger is older. Pay attention. Here in Brazil, it happens too. If I talk to someone who is older than me and I don't know this person, then I will be extra polite. I will be extra careful. So I would use, ma'am, could you blah blah, could you excuse me please? I wouldn't say can you excuse me please. I would say could you excuse me please? Okay. Mom, maybe it's your grandma. Grandma, could I bring a friend to your party? Maybe it's grandma's 88th, yes. 88th, my God, birthday. So I go to grandma, old grandma, and say, Grandma, could I bring a friend to your party? Oh, you know what's interesting? Kids, very young kids, 4 or 5 years old, who are learning this because they're naturally learning this. When they want to be extra sweet or when they want to ask something that they shouldn't be asking, they come and, could I do that? They are extra polite. They're trying to get extra credit. So usually in this context, I've seen it when I was a babysitter. They did that a lot. When they are young and they want to ask for something that they shouldn't, they will use could. And they will make those beautiful faces that will make it hard for you to deny. Priscilla, could I watch another cartoon? Just one more, please. Oh man, I remember that little girl I took care of. She said, please, double please, triple please. Oh my God, it was so hard to say no. Excellent, my friends. Moving on. Question for you, because we're already done. What can you do really well? I want to know, my friends. Let me know here in the comments after you finish this video, after you watch. Let me know what you can do really well. You know, what you're really good at. an ability you have. So I want to know in the comments. And if this lesson was valuable to you, make sure to share it with your friends. Hit the like button because that helps the channel grow. We're more than 115,000. Ha! That's amazing. My goal now is to hit 1 million. And I need your help to get there. Other than that, my friends, have a lovely day. Oops, excuse me. Have a lovely day or a lovely night. And I will see you tomorrow for another English lesson. Bye-bye.